no matter what eating modality you follow, I just, again, I want to emphasize getting back to eating what's real and whole and, nutrient dense. That's what it should be all about.
This is the Entrepology Podcast, the podcast where we optimize the bodies, brains, and lifestyles of entrepreneurs, go-getters, and world-changing innovators.
Welcome to the Entrepology Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Megan Walker. As an anthropologist and naturopathic doctor, I optimize the health and performance of badass women working to change the world as entrepreneurs and go-getters. People exactly like you. Your business, body, balance, and inner badass, these are the themes that we are exploring. Before we jump into the interview, I want to invite you to join our free Facebook community, Legacy. If you want to be something amazing, you need to surround yourself with amazing people. The Legacy community is made up of badass women living, not leaving, but living our legacy every single day. We are leaders, parents, entrepreneurs, and innovators collectively committed to leaving the world better than we found it. My mission is to support the health and optimization of these badass superheroes, literally to places we never thought imaginable. If you are on a mission and get it that your health is the key to your unlimited potential, then join us. We are super awesome. You can find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/groups/BE Legacy. See you there. I had the real pleasure today of sitting down with a new health entrepreneur. Rachel Peterson has launched an online brand called Austin Paleo Grrland. She has a new food product called We Bee Paleo. It's a paleo-friendly granola. And what is so cool about someone who has taken so many initiatives is that she's really only been in the health world for the last 2 years. Rachel shares with us a very personal journey that brought her to a place that forced her to make some very big and strategic decisions with her life. And what I find so inspiring about it is that she picked a journey that not only provided her with hope, but is able to augment the health of other people along the way. Rachel is really honest about where she is at right now, the steps she is taking to being able to launch these new healthy initiatives out into the world, and how she finds the balance between having a full-time job and maintaining these other elements and this other presence as her side hustle. She epitomizes the journey that we have all gone through as health entrepreneurs, and we talked about how she maintains her own health at the same time. It's an incredible interview for people who are really looking to understand what it takes to move forward and all of the elements and all of the potential that are actually sitting in front of us. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to Austin Paleo Grrland, Rachel Peterson. Rachel Peterson, welcome to the Entrepology Podcast.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be recording today. Happy Friday.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to have you here, and you have a really interesting background, and you are I'm going to say in the early stages of your journey as an entrepreneur. And what I love about that is you're taking so many initiatives in so many different areas, and I want to share with people that journey of where you've come from and where you see yourself going and how you're managing the in-between, because I think where you are at as an entrepreneur is so similar in story and in, I'm going to say, requirements, insofar as it's like, when do I make the jump to my side hustle being my full-time gig? And I think your whole background, where you're coming from, is really inspiring. So can you take us through the journey that brought you to this place right now, where you are an entrepreneur, where you have a brand as Austin Paleo Grrland? What was it that got you here? Because I know you have a really compelling story.
Yeah, so I, like a lot of people, I had some pretty major health issues back in 2014, and I had been diagnosed with hypothyroidism back in 2010, but I never really got into the health space that much. I'd read occasional books, things about thyroid health, but I think it took something really dramatic happening to me in order to make me kind of wake up and realize that, hey, I need to take better care of myself and my health. In that same year, I was diagnosed with Epstein-Barr virus, and my thyroid kind of went crazy. I also experienced some pretty severe insomnia. And all of these things just sort of compounded over the summer. I lost my job and I was getting ready to get married. So there was all of this stress. And I got to a point where I got really, really into a bad place. I got depressed, and I actually was hospitalized a few times. I tried to actually end my life. I could not deal with everything that was going on, and I just felt like my support system from my future husband was just not there. And so things just kind of snowballed and ended fairly quickly in my relationship. And my mom was there for me, luckily, and she took me in. And we decided to. I'm from the Midwest originally, and we decided to leave and move to Arizona for a year. And I was still, I worked a little bit in retail, seasonal, but I'd gained a lot of weight, and I really just kind of gave up on everything, on just ever having any kind of normal life again. And we both agreed that Arizona was not the right place for us. And so we moved to Texas a year later, have some family here. And I don't know, things just kind of started to turn around. I found a job with a former company that I worked for full time. So that brought me up to kind of feeling better about myself in general. And then I just decided to do an experiment and I took gluten out of my diet. And I had already known that, if I had a thyroid issue, I shouldn't even be eating gluten in the first place. But it was kind of one of those in one ear, out the other kind of things. But I tried it to kind of see what would happen. And I started to drop weight fairly quickly and just, feeling a lot better, having a lot more energy. And then I found several months later, I had kind of known about what paleo was in a way, but it was just something I never really thought I would be doing. And I found Elle Russ's book, The Paleo Thyroid Solution. And I read it within a day or so. I couldn't put it down. And I just thought, hey, maybe this is something, that I could try. And I mean, it had worked for her. And the more I was reading about paleo, I found out that it, had worked for a lot of people with various health issues. So yeah, I kind of jumped right in. It happened pretty much overnight. And I just started, it was nice because it kind of reaffirmed, I had liked to cook in the past, but it just kind of reaffirmed my love for cooking. I found that again. And I started getting just really creative with things and the types of foods that I would try before. I think it's funny because the standard American diet, a lot of people, they think there's all this variety, and it's really just a sea of junk food. That's what it was for me. But paleo actually opened up a whole new world, things I had never tried eating before. Just, new vegetables that I had never tried a parsnip before. And that was something that, that I tried and I really enjoyed. So kind of long story short, I went to Paleo FX in Austin last year and just learned a lot, met some really great people. And I found out that there was a Primal Health coach certification. And I just, I kind of sat in, listened in, and just thought, oh, maybe, this would be kind of neat because I'm really getting into health now, but I didn't know if it was something that I could actually do. I mean, I'm not a science person by any means. I'm not a big biology person, and I knew that it would be pretty hard to dive into for training. But I kind of just sat on it for a few months and thought about it. And then one day I was just like, you know what? I think I'm supposed to do this. And so I called and just answered some questions, and got enrolled. And then I started a few weeks later, and I mean, it was eye-opening for me. And I just started to nerd out on all of these things, that I, a year ago didn't even know about or care about. And I've heard a lot of people say, a lot of other coaches, health coaches say, I started this journey because of a major health issue that I had, or something major that happened in their life that kind of led them to that point of, wanting to rediscover their health. So, yeah.
Well, and that's part of my journey as well, when Western medicine was no longer giving me what I wanted. And I had this sneaking suspicion that the way I had always been taught to eat and had grown up eating wasn't serving me. And I find that so common with my colleagues as well. For people who are like, okay, I've heard of paleo, but can someone please just tell me what it is? What is the paleo diet?
It's funny because the landscape of paleo seems to be changing quite a bit just over the past year. Now, things like white potatoes are kind of becoming acceptable, whereas they weren't before because they're considered a nightshade. And for some people, they just, the nutritional value, I guess, wasn't considered, like sweet potatoes are acceptable. But yeah, things like, basically, I want to just say it's based on nutrient dense foods, no grains, dairy, soy, legumes, and just, kind of, I want to emphasize that the purpose is to get people back to eating what's real. I call myself a real food advocate. Just really getting away from the processed, the junk that you see on the store shelves, and just keeping up with that, eating and what's in season as well. So yeah, all of those things. But there are some people out there that still do eat rice occasionally, or quinoa, or there's the Primal side where that's a little more relaxed. They can eat dairy and things like that. So yeah, I kind of toe the line between paleo and Primal sometimes, because I do kind of play with different types of dairy. But yeah, I am pretty strict for the most part, especially with the grain and soy part of it. For me, especially with having a thyroid issue, I stay far away from soy as far as I can. So.
Right. And that is, one of the things that I find so fascinating with all of the different movements of diets is that we become so dogmatic about it. But I have some people, for genetic reasons, we have them on genetically non-GMO soy. And then I have other people like you with thyroid issues, I'm like, we're not going to touch it. So it's there is an element of individualization here. And, in speaking to that and in looking at that, can someone be a vegan or predominantly plant-based and paleo?
It's funny because there is, I think that is somewhat possible to a point. I follow Mark Hyman quite a bit, and he kind of introduced the paganism movement. So at first I didn't really understand what that was, but it's primarily, he explained it on a podcast, on the Phoenix Helix podcast recently. So basically it's like 75% of your plate is, veggies, and then you have your protein, whether it is, and he does mention animal protein. And I know, me personally, I know so a lot of people become vegan or vegetarian for ethical reasons, and, I totally get that. I just feel like for me personally, I do better when I do have some sort of animal protein. I was actually a vegetarian for a couple of years, and I did not do well. I think my body just still wanted meat. And I had a really hard time with it. I actually put on a lot of weight as a vegetarian because I just, I was like, well, what do I eat? I was kind of the bad vegetarian. I was eating a lot of processed soy, a lot of carbs, like a lot of pasta and bread. And so I think it, I don't know, I think it, just the whole animal aspect of it definitely comes into play because our ancestors ate meat, thousands of years ago. So I actually met a lady the other day who says she's normally vegan, but she said she's doing keto vegan right now. And I didn't get to talk to her much. It was at an event, but I was like, I wonder, what does that entail exactly? Because that sounds really interesting to me. But.
Yeah, I need to track that woman down because I've had a few patients lately who are like, okay, they had been hardcore paleo, they had done the whole meat thing, and then they're like, for a few weeks I decided just to do only plant-based, and they're like, and then I felt amazing. And so then the question kept coming back to me, can I do like ketogenic vegan? And my short answer is like, I don't know. But I really want to explore that for people because I really love this idea of creating a framework, but then working with what works for them. So if you know that you do better just plant-based and without any meat, then we need to find a way to adhere to the principles of a paleo primal lifestyle that work, and then not get consumed in the dogmatism of any one particular diet.
Yeah. And no matter what eating modality you follow, I just, again, I want to emphasize getting back to eating what's real and whole and, nutrient dense. That's what it should be all about. And it is very individualistic, and, your diet it's a very personal thing. So yeah, it depends on a lot of factors, if you have any health conditions too. So that's always something to take into account as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So have you played with the ketogenic diet? Is that something you've toyed around with in your own health journey?
I really haven't. There's a lot of sort of, I don't know if you want to say controversy with hypothyroidism, especially, Hashimoto's, and ketogenic. Elle Russ actually, she was on the Keto FX event recently online, and she talked in depth about keto and hypothyroidism. And she does think it's possible. I think it is individualistic. I've heard other people say they have thyroid issues and they did not do well at all on keto. So it really depends on your symptoms. I think even Mark Sisson wrote an article a while back about, how ketogenic may or may not work for somebody that has that issue. So, I have lower carb days. It kind of depends what I feel like eating that day. But yeah, I try to stay between, oh gosh, I wouldn't say I go much higher than like 100 to 125 grams a day. And I don't measure. I just don't, because to me that's too restrictive for me. But yeah, I think, it's something that I would consider. But I'd like to see more research about it, because for people like me, it may not necessarily be the best fit. So, because, you need some glucose to produce the thyroid hormone. So.
Yeah, and absolutely. And it's back to this point that I actually really just want people to own is, like you have been saying, you need to eat real food, and then you actually have to listen to your body and figure out what works. And what's cool about that is like, that's actually what got you started on this journey, right? Is that you were listening to your body and you're like, I've got to explore this.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, it's, if something is, blatantly obvious, like if, you eat something and you don't feel good, well, you probably shouldn't eat that again. You probably have some sort of food sensitivity to that food. I know I have to be really careful with dairy sometimes, because if I eat conventional dairy, I feel awful. I just it's horrible. But then again, I can have like raw dairy, doesn't bother my stomach at all. Or sheep or goat milk, or cheese. Just it's so weird. It has a different protein structure. So I have a feeling, that probably has something to do with it. But yeah, it's just like with anything, it's just so individualistic.
Absolutely. So I want to delve a little bit more into your entrepreneurial journey, because you've had a lot of changes. You were in a place in your life where you're like, I need something totally different. And then you learned about paleo, and then you went and got your certification. And I know you've got a few other things that you are cultivating, and now sort of building out a career in this space. Tell us what's happening from a work and career perspective, and some of the things that you've got in the fire right now.
Yeah, I'm actually, I also started a small granola business called We Bee Paleo. And that's BEE, like the buzzy bee. I love bees. So yeah, I kind of it's just something I wanted to try to kind of play around with. There are some good granolas out there that are, grain-free, vegan, gluten-free, all of that. But I don't know. I like being creative in the kitchen, and I went to a food show last fall, and there's a really nice girl there she has her own granola company that she started. And it was just something I kind of played with for a little while. And then I just thought, let's try this and try these flavors together. And it came together really well. And I thought, I was like, maybe people would actually buy this. I mean, maybe, we'll see what happens. So yeah, I just, started doing sampling at events and just, trying to get people interested. And I finally got it set up on my website so that I can actually sell it. So yeah, that's something I'm still actively promoting. And I really hope to see that, keep going, getting more and more exposure for that. I'm planning on hopefully doing some sort of giveaway with that, with a couple other local Austin food businesses. So that'll hopefully be on Instagram if we figure all of that out.
I know you have a really cool Instagram account, and I was going to say we're going to hook everybody up with that in the show notes. I know I have people in this audience who are like, okay, I have a cool food idea, and I have this thought that maybe it's something that I could sell. And I know this is not. I mean, you haven't positioned this company for sale yet. You're still trying to get it going. But what I think is really cool is you've taken action. So take us through some of the action steps that you've actually imparted and stepped into with respect to moving We Bee Paleo forward, because you went from, I tried a few things in my kitchen, to now you're looking at collaborating with some other people, and you've got packaging, and are you selling it at farmers markets? What are the actual steps that you took when you're like, I think I could do this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I took it to, I haven't actually, wholesale is kind of a weird thing because it's just, you have to factor in the labor and all of the ingredients and the unit costs and everything. So I haven't done anything with wholesale. I talked to a couple local smoothie places. So that might be something that I could still do in the future. I actually hooked up with Clean Fit Box and for April. So it's basically a monthly subscription box with, healthy snacks. And so I paired with them for April. So my granola will be coming to 120 lovely people this month. So I'm excited for people to try it. And, I love getting feedback, whether it's, good or bad. I mean, I'm always looking for ways to improve it. So yeah, I really appreciate that, having that opportunity as well. So yeah, I'm currently selling it, on my website, and then just all of these events. I mean, I'm on Eventbrite pretty much weekly, looking for events or talking to people through networking to see if there's any interest there. So yeah, it's something I want to keep growing and moving forward on. And I actually this was more recently. Within the past few days, I live in an apartment, and I've been growing basil through my window in my bedroom window. And it was a grow kit that I got at a store, and it's just basil in a can basically, and it's doing very well. And it's great. They actually donate for each kit that you buy. They donate a kit to a local elementary school for kids. So I kind of got this idea where if I can do it and actually, figure out what I'm doing, I'd like to start a local program here in Austin for children that, maybe they can't afford to grow herbs, in their home. And I'd like to get supplies like tin cans and soil and seeds so that they can, have kind of their own little herb farm at home. I think herbs are kind of an afterthought for some people. They're, if you don't have them, ready access to them, it's just kind of seen as like something that's not necessary. But I mean, plant herbs have a lot of benefits. And I think that would be a neat way to, reach out to the community and get those things to people so that they can, really enjoy their food even more. So,
Rachel, did you always know you were an entrepreneur? Because I love listening to this journey where you're like, I kind of hit this rock bottom, and then I just took action, and then they gave me a new idea, and I took action, and then it gave me a new idea, and I took action, and this is just like so classic entrepreneurism. Did you realize this was inside of you?
I sold lemonade as a kid.
Love it.
That's the closest I ever really got. But as an adult, I never really thought of myself as an entrepreneur until, last year. But maybe it's just something that was kind of within me all along that I just didn't realize. It is difficult. I still, right now I have a regular job, and it's something, that I would eventually like to pursue full-time health coaching and granola and just everything else that I talked about. But yeah, I think some people are just, it's something that's kind of hidden within them, and they just, they need to have maybe something happen major in their life to discover that that's, hey, this is what I was meant to be. So that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, it's just amazing the way that you have continued to move forward. How are you going to know that you are ready to leave the day job and move into your entrepreneurial world full time? Have you laid that out? Are you just feeling it? Like how do you know when the timing's going to be right?
I think for me and a lot of people that get into health coaching, especially, I think it's something that it has to happen gradually. It can take a couple years just to get, and some people never are able to get to do it full time with coaching, especially. It really, it just depends on, I think, on your circumstances and how often you have to put yourself out there. I've found out. There have been times where, I've just, met somebody that knew somebody that, I could talk to about, possibly partnering. But a lot of those opportunities I've done, just cold calling where, I'm not afraid to get on the phone and call or leave a message for somebody at a gym or, some sort of other facility, saying, hey, do you have somebody you're working with for the nutrition piece? A lot of gyms just seem to focus on, the fitness aspect of it. And I've been somewhat lucky. It's easier, I think, with the smaller gyms, especially the local gyms, that they seem to be more open to it. And then, when they find out kind of, what you're about. And I actually just also recently hooked up with a cryotherapy clinic here in Austin. And that was through just a mutual friend. And they're going to let me do this whole like paleo nutrition panel, and I get to do a cooking demo. And so, that's something that, you have to get out in the community. You're the kind of, the face of health and a healthy lifestyle. So, you have to just live it and, that's how you get people interested in what you do and hopefully, make them want to, do that for themselves. And hopefully, a lot of people they need that assistance. They need that hand holding because it is hard to do yourself. It doesn't happen overnight. And a lot of people seem to want, that instant gratification. They want to lose weight or whatever, but they don't realize how much work, you have to put into it. And it's a mindset thing. If you're not in the right mindset, then you're not going to probably do very well. So
in business and in health, right? It's ironic. Rachel, do you consider yourself an extrovert?
It's funny because I call myself an extroverted introvert kind of. I love being around people. I love getting out to events and meeting people in different groups and things like that. There was a time though where, even over the course of the past year, I was never really big on social events and going out. And my previous job just kind of forced me to do that though. I had to talk to managers of stores all day long. That's all I did. So it forces you out of your comfort zone. And public speaking has always been kind of my nemesis. So that's something I'm still working on. But yeah, I think I'm mostly extrovert now, but just maybe still a little bit introverted. So,
Well, I love that truth because I work with a lot of practitioners as they are building their businesses and moving forward in their journey. And I always get resistance from the introverts. Like, well, I don't want to have to do that. It's so uncomfortable for me. And even as someone who I would consider myself more extroverted than introverted, it's really hard for me too. But I love hearing about your journey because this isn't inherently how you would identify. And yet what I'm hearing over and over again is you're like, you got to get out, you got to talk to people, and you've got to move forward.
Yeah.
You just can't expand your contribution if you are sitting at your desk.
Yeah, you have to be comfortable with getting uncomfortable, I guess you could say. You just, you have to eventually, I mean, it's something, maybe if you're not necessarily the most extroverted person, I mean, you still can be. I mean, there's room for that, but at the same time, you're coaching, especially, you're working with people and you're promoting a service. And I just feel like you have to be out there in the community, especially even if it's just, your local community. It's important to get involved and just meet as many people as you can, and just, figure out how you can collaborate and, just ask. I believe in the power of asking. If you need help with something, we're not all meant to do everything. We're not superhumans. And I mean, I've had to ask for help in different areas. Website, design help, because that's just not my thing. So yeah, I mean, I think we can all work together and just, especially in the health world. I mean, it's all about promoting each other and, everybody's ideas. And I think that's just, it's very important to collaborate. So.
Absolutely, because it's a mission. It's so much bigger than us. And as health is this journey, and you've really this has been a new journey for you, really, in the last 2 to 3 years. What is still on your health bucket list? Like, what is the next thing or next few things that you are reaching for? Because you've really focused on food, but are there other elements of health as a three-dimensional entity in our lives that you're really wanting to explore?
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me personally, I mean, I'm still dealing with my sleep issues. That really hasn't gone away. I wish it had, but I mean, diet is a very important component, to a healthy lifestyle. But that's something that is still kind of a question mark for me. So I'm still trying to figure that out. And then just, kind of slowing down. My boyfriend, he's like, you never slow down. You're always going somewhere. You're always doing something. And he's like, don't you just ever want to slow down? And I'm like, well, it's hard for me. It really is. Just to sit, I remember trying to meditate in yoga, even several years ago when I didn't have all this stuff going on. And I still had trouble just kind of quieting my mind down, for 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever. Because it's just, my brain is just so active sometimes. I think I have trouble, just sitting there, not focusing on anything except breathing and just being, so that's something I'd like to work on and, explore further.
I love that. I think this is maybe a good segue question. Dan Sullivan of Strategic Coach has this question that he asks the entrepreneurs that he's working with, and I love it, so I want to use it here. And he says, if we were having this conversation again in 3 years, what would have to happen personally and professionally for you to feel proud and excited by your achievements?
I mean, I just would like to, be at a point where I am, even if it's just, a part-time basis, where I can actually still work with people with their health and, rediscovering their health and getting back to being, their best selves. So even, if I'm doing that, at least in some capacity, I'll be happy. I mean, I'd really like to see this seed program going somewhere, with, planting herb gardens. I really would be, I don't know. I feel this, I don't have children, but I have this, sort of this passion to, help children. I know in Texas, we have a pretty big, childhood obesity problem. And so, as long as, I'm still living here by then, that's something I really would like to see, see remedied and worked on. I'd like to get involved with with the community, as much as I can to just, help people realize that health is, it's a necessity. It's not an accessory. It's a necessity. And, I would eventually like to be, my boyfriend's in Atlanta. So, I'd like to be at the point in my personal life too, where he and I are together, and he's a coach as well. So, if it's something where we could partner and collaborate, I think that would make me really happy. Because I just, I want to continue to spread, the message of health, that, health is so important to everybody. So
I was going to ask you what you want your legacy to be, but you answered that question before, or before I even put it there. Rachel, how would you define health?
I mean, I think it's just overall, just being, your best self that you can be. And maybe it sounds silly, but, just in every aspect of your life, your health, how you eat, how you move, how you interact with others, people. I think technology in a way has put up so many walls for us nowadays. We can just, you text a person, so people don't want to talk on the phone anymore. That human connection is sort of a missing piece, I think. And I think that's a very, just being out in your community and connecting with others is a very important piece of health. And just, being in the right frame of mind that you can take care of yourself and your family in the best way that you can.
Each month, I'm featuring a new Anthropology quiz to help you unlock and uncover some of the physical performance blocks that may be holding you back from your true potential. When you know better, you can do better. To learn more or to take the quiz, head on over to meganwalker.com/anthropology quiz. Rachel, this is a perfect place to transition to the second half of the interview. And in this section, I call these our key performance indicators. So these are questions that require really quick response. And just like we have KPIs in our business, I think we have them in our life as well. So are you ready to indulge me?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Do you have a consistent morning routine? And if so, can you share?
My working hours kind of vary during the week. So in the morning, I get up, I take my thyroid medication. I know that sounds really boring, but I take my thyroid medication. I try to stretch a little bit and just kind of, figure out what I'm going to do for the day. If I'm not working, then just kind of figuring out, my first thought goes to, what am I going to make today to eat? Like that's because I love to cook. So I'm always, thinking about what can I create today? And yeah, just kind of, I check my messages. I know just like a lot of people, my phone, I usually have some sort of notification of some sort. So yeah, I just check my emails and everything. So
fiction or nonfiction, what are you reading right now?
Oh gosh, I'm one of those people, I start like 2 or 3 books at a time and I try to, it's awful. Right now I'm reading You Are a Badass, which is a pretty cool book. I'm really enjoying that. And then I'm reading Joy Mangano's book, The Inventor, who they made the movie about. She created the mop, the special mop. And then I'm always reading, like I read Paleo magazine. I'm kind of right in the middle of that. And then I have books everywhere. It's ridiculous. Like for me to actually finish a book and then move on to another book it's impossible because I want to read all this stuff at the same time.
It's like the entrepreneurial brain, right? We're just constantly trying to. What is the one thing you're most consistent with respect to your health?
For me, I'm always, I guess it's kind of a weird thing, but for me, cooking is just very therapeutic. It's something that I love to do on a daily basis as much as I can. And I'd almost rather just stay home and cook a meal than go out sometimes, because that way, I know what's in it and don't have to worry about, tipping or any of that stuff. But yeah, cooking for me is just the way I relax, and it's something I look forward to. It's not stressful for me at all. It's just, it's kind of my Zen happy place. So try to do that as much as I can.
There is nothing weird about that. This is the thing about this population of people that I talk to day in and day out. This is so many people's happy place. It's one of the quick ways you can tell where someone's at with respect to their health journey is they love weird things like cooking.
Yeah.
What is something totally badass about you that people would not otherwise know?
This is another, like, to me, this is weird. I don't know. My boyfriend is the only one that knows about it, but I have this weird obsession with dachshunds. I love dogs in general, but there's just some, like, I'm on Pinterest and I have this board with, it's all dog stuff, but I don't know. I love dachshunds. They're so cute. And I love sharing pictures of them. And I'm sure that's like, people think that's very weird, but that's like, they're one of my favorite dogs.
That's amazing. So. Do you have a dog?
I don't. Right now, it hasn't really been conducive to my current life. I'd love to get one someday. But being in an apartment is, it's not always the easiest thing. But yeah, I mean, I grew up with a dog and I fostered dogs. I've worked adoption events, for shelters. So it's definitely something, I mean, for now, I'd like to just maybe volunteer locally. The Austin Animal Center is really great. I did a dog fitness blog with them a few months ago. And eventually I'd like to get to the point where I could, adopt a cute little wiener dog or some other dog that needs a home. So
that's brilliant. So my husband wants a dog and we have 3 kids and we're renovating and I'm going to hook him up with a Pinterest board with dogs and that is going to be his outlet for now. He is in for a really fun night. What do you do for fun or play? And maybe it's related to dogs. Maybe it's related to something different.
I mean, again, cooking, it sounds boring maybe, but I'm kind of a homebody. Sometimes I love cooking. I love buying food to cook. And I really, now that the weather's getting warmer, I hope to get outside more. We have this really awesome pool where I live in my apartment complex. So I hope to get out to the pool a little bit more and get some sun and just, yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to growing season. I just bought, like I said, I'm growing the basil right now, and I just bought some sweet pepper seeds and some lemon cucumber seeds last night. So looking forward to getting those potted and watching them grow. And I don't know. I like simple things. I'm kind of a no frills kind of person. Sometimes I enjoy a nice meal at a restaurant. I mean, I think that's, if you can do that and afford to do that, even just once a week, it's just nice to get away and have somebody cook for you once in a while and just be with people that you care about and reconnect. So, yeah.
I agree. Other people cooking for you is a dream. Last question, Rachel, entrepreneurism. Are we born this way or do we learn to become entrepreneurs?
Well, I mean, I think it's just something, I don't know if for me, it's just, like I said earlier, it's kind of something that maybe was kind of buried within me all along, that I just didn't, recognize. But yeah, I think we're born with certain qualities, but a lot of it does have to do with your circumstances and your environment. And for me, I feel like it wasn't a choice for me. I felt like it chose me. It was just something that, I wasn't even thinking about, but it happened. And I'm very glad it did, because I feel like I'm in the right place.
Amazing. Your journey is so inspiring. I'm really excited to see where things go for you and to watch this evolution, because you are clearly committed to moving it forward. And I think it's going to be really exciting for all of us to keep tabs on where things are moving for you. Rachel, people are going to want to connect with you and your journey. Where can they find out more about what you're up to? And we'll put all of this in our show notes.
Yeah, absolutely. My website is Austin Paleo Grrland. It's with 2 R's, GRRL.com. So you can find me there. You can find me on Instagram under the same name, Austin Paleo Grrland. And I'm always posting food pictures on there. I'm such a food nerd. And then, yeah, just kind of everyday things. I'm a fairly silly person, so I post random stuff on there sometimes. But yeah, you can find me on there quite a bit. I prefer that much over Facebook. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Fantastic. Rachel, it was such a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
If you enjoyed our conversation and would like to hear more, head on over to Stitcher or iTunes and subscribe to the Entrepreneurship podcast. We would also really appreciate a quick review. When people have their health, they can change the world. Let us keep you healthy and you go change the world.